Look closely. A collision is happening in real time. Hyper-fast, borderless digital networks are pushing violently against the hard physical limits of our natural world. For the last 300 years, global markets operated on an extraction model. Centralized institutions built tools in a vacuum, pushed them out into the physical world, and relied on probabilistic guesswork to decide what the market actually needed. In this system, complex, living human beings were reduced to statistical ghosts. People were valued only for the raw data they fed back into the machines, ignoring the ecological boundaries of the Earth. Now, as our global computing power crosses the threshold into autonomous execution, we face a stark existential choice. We will either build artificial general intelligence that replaces our living ecosystem, or we architect intelligence augmentation, tools designed exclusively to protect, serve, and expand it. The friction we feel today, a $700 trillion global crisis, happens in what architects call the interstitial brownfield. This is the chaotic space where borderless cyber capabilities crash blindly against lagging sovereign laws, exhausted power grids, and burned-out human populations. Attempting to force one-dimensional technology, like millisecond AI and quantum computing, into the 10-dimensional complexity of a living ecology is a mathematically fatal trajectory for the planet. To survive this bottleneck, we have to reverse the gravity of the entire planetary macrosystem. We need to transition from an extraction model to demand-out physics. This geometric framework illustrates what we call the tetrad. It proves that the enterprise, the state, the community, and the individual are not inherently at war with each other. They represent the cyber, physical, social, and sovereign domains perfectly aligned. A one-dimensional exoskeleton surrounds these pillars, shielding the living center from the mechanical friction of the global network while managing its high-speed computational burdens. On its own, this technological shell has absolutely zero intrinsic value. Algorithmic logic remains entirely speculative until the exact millisecond it is activated by localized, biological, unmet demand. By reclassifying technology as an exoskeleton, borderless digital capability is permanently tethered to and restricted by physical reality. Ensuring this exoskeleton acts safely requires a constitutional and physical boundary. We call this the meta-airlock. No transaction, capital, or capability can route across the planetary network without passing through it. This animation shows the exact physical dimensions of that airlock. First, the capability must clear layer 10. It has to honor the 10 scales of indigeneity, proving it serves the true biological and ecological source of the demand. Next, it filters through layer 7. The capability must safely navigate the 7-layer substrate, integrating with vital planetary resources like compute, logistics, and energy. As the flow tightens, it hits layers 5 and 4. The capability must clear 5 recursive economic scales and achieve perfect coherence across the cyber, physical, social, and sovereign domains we mapped earlier. Finally, the demand compresses into layer 1. It becomes a single, one-dimensional executing vector acting instantly at T0, flashing across the network without bleeding a single drop of thermodynamic energy. The engine driving this entire process is the localized human edge. Because machines are trapped by historical data, human consensus has to imagine new solutions. When communities pull an algorithm across the airlock, the digital tool is mathematically priced based on the exact friction it resolves, permanently ending the practice of extracting unpriced open-source labor. This compression is enforced by the hard-coded thermodynamic physics of the network, known as Ps: privacy, equity, inclusion, and sovereignty. These structural rules ban an algorithm from extracting kinetic energy without directly replenishing the specific sovereign point of origin that authored the demand. By strictly enforcing this dimensional compression, we create a physical architecture where global economic growth can never obscure local ecological or human decay. A decentralized ecosystem cannot survive its own birth in a vacuum. If left unprotected, it would be instantly co-opted by legacy gatekeepers intent on extracting value. Initially, an ontological root node stabilizes the system against legacy extraction. To prevent permanent power, it utilizes autopoiesis. A biological social helix accumulates thermodynamic capital. Upon reaching mathematical mass, the root node fractures, transferring core routing and authorization logic to the decentralized human swarm. This permanent transfer of power ensures no global cartel or routing protocol can execute a decision without the living cryptographic consent of the social helix. When the machine finally absorbs the violent mechanical burden of the physical world, baseline prosperity is guaranteed at the moment of execution. The entirety of human cognitive bandwidth is freed from the scarcity trap. By yielding planetary routing to a living consensus, the focus of human intelligence shifts from managing scarcity to solving civilizational challenges like climate regeneration and biological longevity and deep space exploration.